Severe, pervasive, and irreversible. Those are the words used by several hundred scientists to describe the impact of the Earth's warming environment in a landmark new report released today from the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Between melting ice caps, heat waves, droughts, floods, wildfires, and cyclones, nobody on this planet is going to be untouched by the impacts of climate change, according to the panel's chairman. And apparently, the worst is yet to come. Throughout the 21st century, the report says, the climate change impacts are projected to slow down economic growth, make poverty reduction more difficult, further erode food security, and prolong existing and create new poverty traps. The report's authors also conclude that climate change can indirectly increase risks of violent conflicts in the form of civil war. This group of scientists, who incidentally won the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize for their work, found with at least 95% certainty that humans have been the dominant cause of the observed warming since the mid-20th century. But while the Nobel laureates sound their warning calls, climate deniers are off burying their heads in the sand. Literally. This July, in sandy Las Vegas, a group called the Heartland Institute is holding a climate change skeptics conference. The group promises an all-star lineup of scientists and issue experts, including a medical officer from a Texas sheriff's office, a massage therapist with a BA in psychology, and a guy named Fred Singer, a man Rolling Stone nicknamed the granddaddy of fake science for his theories that the hole in the ozone layer was not a huge deal, and his conclusion that cigarette smoking was actually pretty safe. But hey, if you believe that civil war, mass starvation, and species extinction are no biggie, why not waste time sitting in an air-conditioned room in the middle of the desert listening to what massage therapists have to say about carbon dioxide? Joining me now is the CEO and co-founder of Vice Media, the great Shane Smith. Shane, it's always good to see you, although I have to say this is singularly the most terrifying vision of the future that I have read about in, I think, maybe my lifetime. Of the things that are enumerated in this report, they say that by 2100, hundreds of millions of people could be affected by coastal flooding. Poverty will be exacerbated. Food systems could break down. Many species, this is truly apocalyptic, will not be able to move fast enough during the 21st century to track suitable climates and will therefore go extinct. Right. Of all of these things, you guys have done some great reporting on climate change and how evidenced it is in certain parts of the world. Which of those things terrifies you the most?
Well, I think the retreat, I think if you look at what's happening, and when we just did our piece on Greenland, which is melting at an astronomical rate, and if all of Greenland melts, it's about 23 feet of sea level rise on its own, not including the Arctic or Antarctica. So if that happens, obviously 80% of the world's major cities are at sea level, which means you have a global retreat from our major cities, our cultural cities. But also, if you look at Bangladesh, for example, what's happening there, you know, maybe in New York we can build seawalls, you know, maybe Shanghai can build seawalls, but Bangladesh is in deep trouble. Holland is in deep trouble. Like, so many of these countries are in grave danger. And when I was talking to the scientists, Gavin Schmidt at NASA or Jason Box in Greenland, you know, the question wasn't if Greenland is going to melt. It's when Greenland is going to melt, because it is going to melt. And the only question is how fast. Is it going to be 500 years? Is it going to be 100 years? Is it going to be 50 years? And that's what's terrifying, is we are heading down the path and we cannot stop it.
Well, you know what is interesting in your Greenland report? Because of the warming climate, they're able to grow, I think, strawberries in Greenland. And so you have a whole host of, it will put the climate change skeptics in one little box of their own. But you also have economists and people who are not that worried about climate change who say, oh, but the economic boon, now you can have strawberries in Greenland. It is amazing to me that that short-term bonus of having a Greenland strawberry is not outweighed by the potential and the darn near certainty, I can't believe I said darn near, but the near certainty of civil war and famine and drought and species extinction.
Well, Dr. Gavin Schmidt at NASA said again, he said, look, this global warming and sea level rise is good for nobody. Sea level rise is good for nobody. I'll say it again because, you know, what's happening, not just in Greenland, but in the Arctic, you know, you have the melting of the pack ice. So there's a huge land grab to go in there to get minerals, to get oil. Russia's in. We just did a piece. Everyone's putting their arms there. America's putting arms there. Russia's putting arms there. You know, the Scandinavian countries are everyone's putting arms up there because there's going to be a big land grab up there. But the problem with that is, the bigger issue is, the ice is gone. Yeah. Sea levels are rising. We're going to have famine. We're going to have drought. We're going to have floods. We're going to have extreme weather. We should be getting together, not saying, okay, who's going to take out the oil, which is going to thereby exacerbate the problem.
Well, you know, but it also is exposing economic fault lines in terms of the poor countries. And you mentioned Bangladesh. Cities and countries that will go underwater that are at sea level. Sure, there are Amsterdams and there are New Yorks that are at sea level, but a huge part of the developing world is going to have to and bears the brunt of climate change. And the question is, and the real tension here, is who's going to pay for this? The estimate is that these developing countries need $100 billion a year to combat the effects of climate change. That's a line that was in that UN report that was taken out by the wealthy countries. There's a huge debate, especially now that China is a big emitter of carbon. Who should pay the price?
Well, also, if you look at Arab Spring, how Arab Spring started, it started as a revolution because of food. Yeah. Because, you know, food prices were increasing because of drought, et cetera, et cetera. If you extrapolate the IPCC's latest numbers, you know, food is getting more and more expensive, water is getting more and more expensive, who suffers? The poor. But if you look at Arab Spring and the dramatic upheaval that's had, you know, still going on in Syria, still going on in Egypt, still going on in many of these countries, imagine when that hits Southeast Asia, when that hits South America. You know, you're looking at a total geopolitical shift in the world in the next 20 to 30 years, which sounds, oh, it's 20 or 30 years away. Okay.
We're talking 2016 presidential election.
But what you're seeing now in California, what you're seeing now in Texas with the drought, what you're seeing now with extreme weather hurricanes like Sandy in New York, like Fukushima, for example, you're having all of these, you know, extreme weather conditions causing all of these problems. That's only going to get worse.
You know, anecdotally, I was discussing with friends the moment that we're in, which we are, I think, as humans, we tend to think is the most sort of dire and disastrous with global conflict and economic uncertainty. But in fact, when you read the projections in this report, this may be the period of harmony and stasis in the grand scheme of things, which makes the behavior of people like, the Heartland Institute having their 9th International Conference on Climate Change featuring architects and massage therapists, and the reports they issue, as laughable as the data may be or the conclusions may be, actually gain a foothold in some corners of
But that's the most insidious part. Because you have the fossil fuel industry, you have the car industry, they know the science is right.
And they fund these quack reports.
But 98% of the scientific community is saying, yes, you know, the IPCC's report has just come out. We're saying, yes, it's here. There's no more question. There's no more fighting. There's no more arguing. This is what's happening. Yet you still have the Koch brothers. You still have, you know, groups saying, let's get out there. Let's say, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. You know, there's a forum where you can put 4 negative comments against any article, and you can see it.
This is on Vice.
On Vice or on any other. You can go and you can look at, if you do a climate change piece, the first 4 comments will be negative. Because they pay them. They pay them to go out there and spread. And that's what I find insidious, because they know the science is correct. Yet to make money in the short term, they're paying for climate change denial, and that's insidious.
And the fact that they're getting any amount of bandwidth on this, given the conclusions of hundreds of Nobel laureates, is devastating, not just for thought and reason, but also for the planet. Shane Smith from Vice. Vice Media has an awesome, I guess we're going to call it an episode. It is an episode. But you guys have been doing great work on covering climate change, and the Greenland episode is very, very good. You should check out vicenews.com, and you can also, of course, catch new episodes of Vice's very fancy and fabulous HBO series on Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern. Thank you.